Hello everyone. Today's video is going to be about making clay stamps. I've already uploaded a couple of videos on clay stamp making. This one though is a little different because I'm going to be showing you 5 different stamps, and in the second half of the video I'm also going to be showing you how I make use of these. So for the first one, I take a small piece of clay, a small ball of clay. I create a little handle so that it's easy for me to hold the stamp. And this is a project which is very easy to follow, even if you are somebody who's only starting off working with clay. So if you see, I have just created a slightly a paisley shape using a wooden tool, creating the designs that would basically make it look like a leaf. So these wooden tools typically are something which you would see, you would find very easily as a part of the pottery kit or the pottery tool kit that you get, or it's also called as the wooden sculpting tool or the wooden modeling tool. I mean, there's just so many names to it. So there, the first stamp is ready. This is just a very creative way of making personalized stamps. You don't have to really stick to just these designs. You can also get creative and make a lot more. The process is really simple. I start off with a small ball of clay. I make it into a round shape followed by a handle. And the one suggestion is, do not make the handle too thin, because obviously the handle is where you would typically hold and press down the stamp in order to create the impression on moist clay. Going back to the same wooden tool that I used for making the designs of the leaf, simple patterns. Like I said, I have kept this entire video simple, keeping in mind that this can actually be useful for a lot of beginners who are just starting their journey with clay. This is the third design. Once again, it's the handle. I make the handle, and then this is a bit of a rectangular shape that I'm looking for. I'm just making a rough shape, and then I'm going to be using a cookie cutter in order to cut out the shape more precisely. I'm using a little bit of oil here to smoothen the edges. I'm using a fettling knife in order to create a couple of designs. Once again, keeping the design really simple here. Even if you do not have a fettling knife, you can just go ahead and use a basic knife in order to create these exact designs. I am cutting off this part, as you see, using an X-Acto. An X-Acto is a really helpful tool, I think, especially if you're somebody who does a lot of cut work and designs like that. I think it just gives you very clean, crisp cuts. This is the back of a paintbrush. And there you go. You have a simple rectangular stamp ready. Moving on to the fourth design. Another small ball of clay. Creating the handle. This can also be a very nice project for maybe for kids. Obviously with with your supervision, so that, you know, because there are places where certain things like sharp knives and stuff like that are being used. So the center part of the design was basically made with help of a straw that I just pressed in order to get a petal shaped design, and the rest of it is basically using my fettling knife. By the way, I am using the blunt side of my fettling knife for creating these designs. This is the fifth stamp, slightly bigger one. I'm going to be using a round cookie cutter in order to get a more precise shape. A little bit of oil just to smoothen out the edges. Another key element that you might want to consider while creating these stamps is to make sure that the base is always flat. It just helps, especially if you're trying to create these imprints on a slab. Once again, with the blunt side of my fettling knife. The blunt side is only so that you get slightly more broader, more visible prints. And there you go. The one in the front row is the freshly made ones, which are yet to dry. The ones behind are fired and ready to be used. So once the clay stamps are fired, we'll see how we can put them to use. It's a very necessary step to fire them because you will see that there will be a substantial amount of pressure that I apply on these in order to get the best impression on moist clay. And there you go. The rectangular stamp now. And you'll see how this is a little different. You'll see that you'll see that slight pattern difference. I'm just going about with a small rigid blade and creating a couple of designs. Like I said, this just opens up a lot of creative possibilities in terms of what you can do with these. I just used a couple of cookie cutters in order to cut out these shapes, smoothened it out, and then I'm just using these stamps. Now, if you want to make multiples of such pieces, create a wall piece, you can create individual fridge magnets or even pendants. I think the ideas are just endless. You can use them as keychains. So I'm just using basic parts of a pen, a nozzle. Give it a good press. And you'll see why I said that it'll be better to use the blunt side of the knife just so that you get a thicker line. So if you see, I do apply quite a bit of pressure on that. So this is why I say, because you get at least very visible design marks when you use the blunt side. I'm creating very simple designs. Like I said, I'm keeping the video and the projects in this extremely simple, just so that it is beginner friendly. I created this video specifically in mind, specifically keeping in mind the beginners who are just starting off with clay. Or even if you have a little bit of experience with clay, I think this might be a nice new project to try your hands on. So again, using just parts of a pen. No fancy tools here. I'm just using what what I have. Like I said, even if you do not have a fettling knife, you can just use a basic knife. So there you go, all the 5 pieces are ready, and you saw how I put these stamps to use. There are just so many other ways of how you can actually make use of these stamps. So I really hope you all enjoyed watching the video. Please do let me know what you think of the video in the comment section, and as always, I'll get back to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for watching.